Lisa, uniquely unforgettable coach.
This is Scott. I get it, coach. How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing great. I've lost 10 pounds for sure this week. So all together.
That's what's up. How you doing?
How? Eating healthy. Doing like 6 small meals a day.
Right. Good deal.
It's a program, but you're going to ask me what the name of the program is, and I'm going to tell you that I can't remember it this very much.
I get it.
So yeah.
So you're feeling better and healthy and notice a difference.
I noticed a difference in my clothes on.
And as a woman say that, I know that means the world, and I don't. I have not learned one thing. I never talk to a woman about their weight. I'll say one comment, leave it alone, and that's why I'm still living today.
Well, I don't think I've ever had an issue with anyone saying anything. I don't really care.
You've never, but you've always looked good. But I'm just saying, when it comes to, you don't need to lose 10 pounds. Oh, yes, I do. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hear women like that, but I'm not like that at all. I needed to lose weight more for my back and my knees and have energy for my grandkids and just be healthy. We got COVID going on, and your immune system needs to be good. So I'm thinking immune system, weight. Let's just get it all out right now.
And you play with the new puppies.
Yes. So everybody, I'm getting at least one, possibly two, a brother and a sister. But she's 6 weeks old. No, wait a minute. No, she's not. That's a lie. I mean, not really a lie. That's just wrong. She's 2 weeks old, and I get her in 6 weeks.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. That's what's up.
That's what's up. What about you?
Just working as always. Busy. I told you earlier. I lost my keys in Walmart store, but maybe that's why it was a Walmart curse. But found it. But now just been working, doing the classes on Christian basics and ministry, and getting the book finalized, and I've got I'm gonna do a different shirt that is gonna go on my website hopefully next week. I'm still gonna have these, but then I'm doing shirts that just say I get it on it.
Cool.
And then I've got the face mask that says I get it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it all goes to you know. Last weekend, I went to a memorial for a friend of mine that exactly a year ago lost her son to a heroin overdose. And she does fundraising, and she helps people get into sober living. And she like if somebody's in a different state, she helps them get back to the state they're in so they can get help. And so a portion is going to go to that. And because more people. Especially with COVID, a lot of charities and a lot of resources don't have the money right now because everything's shut down.
Correct.
But the addiction is not, and the need for helping people is not going to slow down just because everything COVID has shut other things down. So
right, I agree. Yeah,
I got just a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff going on, so it's all good stuff. Still a hot mess, but I'm a clean hot mess. So
there you go. So we decided today that we were going to talk about domestic violence and abuse and things like that. So I heard you did some research.
I did, which is odd for me. I'm getting better at this. It may be kind of the last minute. I won't say last minute. It's just when I can actually sit down long enough and my phone's not ringing and I'm not on the computer and I'm not working and I'm not doing this. But there's 7 forms of domestic violence, and you don't. Most people don't realize there's that many. You just think about the physical and mental aspect of it.
Correct.
Or the sexual.
Correct.
But neglect, abandonment, which I never even thought about that, but it makes total sense. And then the financial, which goes back to all the control and the narcissist and
correct. And the financial part is a lot of women get in these relationships and the guy is wonderful and pays for everything, does all the stuff, and says, "Baby, you don't have to work. I got everything handled." And then she doesn't have a job now, and she's taking care of the kids at home. The violence begins, even though it was probably beginning beforehand, but it was so littleness that it was not. And then now she has no job, she has no income coming in, and the abuse begins tenfold, and she can't get away because she's like, "Where am I going to go?
I have no money."
Exactly. I got the kids. I gotta suck it up. I gotta deal with it. He'll get better. When things are good, things are good. When things are bad, they're just really bad. But before you know it, their heads are so manipulated. They blame themselves. Well, I should have had the dinner ready by the time he got home. I should have had the place clean before he got home. It's my fault. I shouldn't have talked back to him. I shouldn't have. And then they start blaming themselves.
And that goes to another one, self-neglect. And I have dealt with. I have a lot of friends that are doing better now. One is still kind of in that situation, but she'd be in the verbally and the mental, and on occasion physical. And she would leave. They wouldn't talk for a minute, and then he would call her and say, "I'm sorry," and in her mind, well, he's going to change this time, or I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to do this better. And it goes back to what you said. It all falls back on the female, and then go back and things are good for a minute, and then once the man or the woman, because I know some women do it to the men,
right.
Once they think that everything's back to normal and the relaxation period's back on, then it happens again.
Scott, do you think people change?
Oh, absolutely.
So you think someone who is abusive to someone, do you think they can change?
Absolutely. And why you ask?
Why? Because
no, I said you're asking me why I think I could change.
Why? Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Because I never physically laid a hand on anybody. The mental abuse. I was a narcissist. I was controlling. I was manipulative. I was all that in my addiction. And I didn't think about it and didn't care because it was all about me. Now, when I got into recovery and I started working on who I was and I did the stuff that I did and actually worked on the inside, there's no way that I could ever do that again to somebody because it's not right.
Okay. So that's for you. But let's talk about these people who have never been in really addiction. There wasn't drugs. There wasn't alcohol involved. And these men or women, but majority is men lose their cool, lose their temper, and start swinging on their lady.
I've seen people. I've seen that happen with people that have never had a drug or alcohol problem. They hit a bottom, whether they ended up in jail for beating somebody up, beating their significant other so bad they landed in jail, maybe did a little bit of prison time, and decided to get some counseling for their anger. I've seen people come a long way, but then I've seen people so far they just don't get it. They haven't hit their rock bottom per se.
So now we're gonna go a little personal here. I've been in a few relationships in my younger years where I was in domestic violent relationships. Okay. These two men, because there were two of them, two different ones, two different relationships, are married or with someone else for many years now since then, and has not laid a hand on either their wife or their significant other, and they say I brought that out.
Yeah, but how do you know for a fact that they have it?
I do.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Okay. Because I mean, there's always their story, and they could say I did.
I've spoken to.
Okay, I gotcha. I just had to clarify. But you think she's telling you the truth?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, one of them actually wears the pants.
Right. Okay.
Because she has the money. Now I guess it reverses. Maybe in this situation it reverses.
Maybe she's controlling and she's doing the and because she has the money and she's taking care of them. Maybe
in one situation, maybe that could be
right. But why would you bring it out in him? Did he?
Well, you know me.
But I.
Actually, I say you know me. That's incorrect. I mean, you do know me. That's not what I meant. But back then I was a very shy person and just put up with stuff. I was not very vocal as I am now. So back then was really different. That made me probably more vocal.
Right. And I'm no expert by no means. But I find it hard to believe. And I could be wrong. Because I am a man, and we are wrong most of the time. But I find it hard to believe that somebody in one relationship is very physical, gets into another one and just stops. Unless there's some kind of counseling going on that they're not talking about.
No, I don't.
Whether it be going to
church,
whether something.
Okay, so let's talk about my ex-husband.
Okay.
Very abusive. Verbal, mental, physical. Started really from the beginning of our dating. But I overlooked it. But now that I look at it, it started pretty much in the beginning. So, ex-husband met him on the website. He paid me for some months. And then he decided that he wanted me to stop that. So we stopped. I stopped. Sort of, kind of one of those moments. He took me to nice places, bought me lots of nice things, took me to the St. Louis Cardinals games, to the Rams. I mean, he did all these things that I've never had. Nice restaurants. I mean, I thought Golden Corral and those kind of places were nice restaurants. So nice restaurants, and then. One day he called me to come over to his house, and he. So if y'all don't know this, people, everything on the internet, if it's on the internet somewhere, it's going to be everywhere on the internet. Right. Anybody can find it. People can buy it and put it on their site. I mean, it's just one of those things. So he found a video of mine, and of course the date on that video made it look like it was that week, which was incorrect. It was an old video.
Somebody can change it.
But you can change that when you buy it for a different site. And so he had that and literally just slapped the crap out of me. And right then should have been my adios. But it was like, takes me to nice restaurants and he buys all these things and he's done all these things that I've never had anyone do for me. So I stayed. And then, again, when things are good, and there was a lot of confusion in my brain because I really thought it was okay for a guy to hit you too. If you did something wrong, it was okay. It was, and so of course him and I were together like 9.5 years, on and off.
Right.
So I mean, I left him multiple times when things got really bad. And that's the thing. Domestic violence. They will tell you women takes about 7 times before they actually leave. I mean, they'll leave like 7 times, but it really takes about 7 times.
To finally break that chain.
And even when I broke the chain with my ex-husband, I will have to say that every time something seemed like to go bad in my life, I'd still call him up. And we would still kind of whatever for a bit, thinking we were going to get back together, and he would say something that would trigger, and I'm like, yeah, goodbye.
So why did you always go back to him? If something bad, you would always call him. Why would you?
When things were good, things are good.
So even after you left him for a while there, you kept that was your mindset.
Oh yeah, every relationship that I got into and it went sour, I would call him back up, or show up at his house. First time he shut the door in my face, says, I don't ever want to see you. But by the time I got to my car, he was like, come back. So it was one of those moments, you know.
But you also did it. Is it because you actually knew what to expect?
Oh, absolutely.
I think that has a
absolutely.
And I don't know because I've never been in that situation. I've always been on the other side with the verbal and mental. But if you know what to expect, good or bad,
exactly.
If you're in your head for a moment, you're going to go back to that.
Correct.
Until you're strong enough with who you are to be able to walk away.
I was very strong. I mean, actually, it's kind of crazy, but I was in Lowe's probably about 2 years ago. I think it's been about 2 years now. And saw him and my anxiety, and I had a panic attack right there in Lowe's. When I saw him. And he literally just walked by. I mean, he didn't say a word to me, he didn't say anything to me, but I kind of freaked out.
That was the one you saw QT that one time when we were...
Oh, you were with me that one time? That was less than 2 years ago. I forgot about that part.
That was last year when you...
I forgot about that.
There was a big barbecue or something going on at your house, and we had to go get ice or something, and you come back to the car, and you were just visibly just like... You could tell that.
Oh yeah.
And you were saying, "Let's get out of here," and then you told me what had happened.
Yeah. So I guess there's a little bit of that there because I mean, he was the type when we were together. Sometimes he would say he had a bad dream, and his bad dream was vividly telling me how he was killing me. And he would tell me detail to detail how he was killing me. Chopping me up, everything.
So what was your final... I mean, you just said that they said it takes 7 times to kind of break away. What was the final straw that broke the camel's back for you? What made you finally realize I got to get away?
Are you talking about like get away, not the other times that I just called and
just finally broke it off and you were done.
The fear that he was going to kill me and my girls. There's something triggered in my head, and for a long period of time, I was convinced. Well, I guess. Okay, let me back up a little bit. He contacted my church. And then he contacted my kids' dad's family, and all told them that I was a prostitute and all these things. And so somewhere along the way, because of that, and him telling me how, I guess the last time how he would kill me, because he would say you're never gonna leave me. Nobody wants damaged goods. You'll never find anybody. I mean, those were the things that he would say, in which a lot of abusers do that to the women, and you kind of believe it because you're like, well, I've been home. He made sure I didn't work. I didn't have no income. I didn't have a car anymore because it was his. Everything was his, and so. To be honest with you, I don't remember the very last straw, but it was the last straw that I was out, and I stayed hidden for a long time. And unfortunately, a church, my church that I was going to at that moment, the pastor didn't know that we had separated, or maybe he did, but somehow told him where I was living.
So did he come back out there and try to find you?
No, he did not. But my fear was so high. I didn't sleep for days, to days. I was holding on to my own gun, and sleeping with my own gun if I was even trying to sleep. It was one of those moments. Actually, that was when we were actually married. So divorce day, went to court, and Alive, which I 100% support Alive, here in St. Louis. But they came to my divorce, and they were really like, Judge, can you tell him to quit looking at her? Because that's all he kept doing was staring at me. So when the divorce was finalized, he stood in the hallway for a lot, and they wouldn't let me leave the court until you'd leave. And they actually escorted him outside, and then they had me wait for like 10 minutes. And the only thing they did probably wrong there is they did not escort me to my vehicle. They're like, okay. We looked outside. He's not around. So go ahead and leave. That was probably I would say. I wish that system would change because he was outside. Because by the time I got to my car, there he was. Sweet. There he was. Sweet.
Heckle and jive.
Yes. There he was being sweet, and why won't you talk to me? And and before you know it, we are enjoying a Mexican dinner, and then we're all back into the role. Even though we're divorced, here we are, right back into it. And I would have never killed you. I can't believe you thought I was going to kill you. And da 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 da. And
back to the
and it was just an ongoing. Until I met the next person, and then of course for the first few next husbands, because everybody knows that a few times. He literally contacted them. Every one of them. Let them know that I was a prostitute, I was a whore, I was this, I was that. And every one of those husbands that I ended up whatever happened to our relationship, I would call him back up. Hey, just got divorced. Hey. Whatever. I mean, it was one of those moments. So I have not had the urge to call him for about 2 years. Married or not, I don't really care if he's married, but I have no urge.
Well, that's good. Now, what is? Did you say alive?
Alive. ALIVE.
For people out there that don't know what that is, can you explain?
I knew you were going to say that. I was like, gosh, I don't even remember what it was called, and I used to be on the committee. That is let me Google it here.
While you're looking for that, I think back of all the relationships that I was in, that I did that abuse. I would build you up and tear you down in the same day. Just because it's. I mean, I always I would always tell them how beautiful they were. But then I would throw out some kind of control or manipulation after that to get what I want. Or if they knew I did something wrong, I would throw it back at them to make them. I was a master at convincing you that it was your fault, it wasn't my fault, and I didn't do that. And it was just a twisted game. And
it is a twisted game. But even him being my husband. Now, we didn't get married right away. We didn't get married for probably like I think it was 6 or 7 years after being together. And the abuse had gone on this whole time. But I really thought if I fought, because he wanted to marry me the whole time, and I kept saying no. So I thought if I married him, the jealousy and all that was going to stop. And we were only married for 6 months. So it was not like it lasted.
My last marriage lasted 4 days, and there was a lot of manipulation and a lot of mental abuse.
That's interesting.
4 days. 4 days.
Interesting.
Oh, it was a mess. And that felt so bad for how I treated her. And when I made my amends, I did reach out to her. And, she was the only one so far that I've made my amends to.
Okay.
That pretty much told me to go to a very nice place and hope I died in the whole 9 yards.
There it is. It's alternative to living in violent environments.
Nice.
It's on the screen now right now.
So people can see that.
I'm working on it.
Sorry. Thank you, Scott.
The other
Scott. If y'all don't know it, we have a Scott in the background who's doing all this amazing things on the computer for USA Hot Talk Radio.
Ferguson.
Oh, let me not forget. Don't forget the Ferguson part. My bad.
Right. But yeah, it lasted 4 days, and it was. We fought on our wedding night, and I tried to. She tried to make it better the next day, and I just didn't want to be there. So then the manipulation and just looking for that one reason to get out. And about 4 days later, I was done. But I broke her down really bad in the process, and I took money that we got from our wedding day, went to East St. Louis, got a hooker, got a hotel, and partied the night after our day. And I think back now, and it's like, what a piece of crap that I and if I would have hit her, which I would never lay a hand on a woman, but if I would have, like we talked before, that bruise would have healed up quick. But then the mental aspect of it. I know I have friends that it's taken years of therapy for them to get past the mental abuse of what they went through.
Right.
Feeling like it was their fault and they should have done better, or they shouldn't have worn makeup because they didn't want them to, and that is a clear sign to me. If somebody, and again, I know some men that are in abusive relationships. You don't hear it as much of it. It's not as common, or we don't hear about it as much. But people need to realize that if somebody's trying to control what you do and you're not doing anything wrong, it's not like you're going to the bar, it's not like you're going to the boat, spending all this money, and it's not like you're cheating. If they're trying to control every aspect of what you're doing, and then they're getting physical or mental, you gotta get out. Because it's down a bad path. And if you have kids, your kids are seeing that. And a lot of times, the kids grow up in an environment where they see that abuse going on, so they think that's the way life should be, or a relationship should be, so they get into that, and it just kind of snowballs. I see that all the time.
I believe that. And not that they believe that that's the way it's supposed to be, because I'm going to go back. I have 2 daughters.
And you've been blessed because they won.
Well, and both daughters have seen both of those relationships. Now, one says she can't remember the first one, but the ones definitely can remember the first one. And then the second one, they both remember the second one. And they both. I mean, they both in high school were, or when they got out. One was in high school and one was out of high school. Both have been in abusive relationships and controlling relationships. And I, as a mom, beat myself up because I felt like it was my fault. Because that's where do they see it? I mean, why did they put up with it? And I would ask him all the time. You know, I would have killed the dude. All you had to do is tell me. And I know my one who was beaten black and blue and hair pulled out and different things like that. She's like, I felt like I could handle it. I thought I could make it better. And then the other one would tell me, he needs help. I thought I could change him.
Which goes into what the other one said. I thought I could make it better. I mean, it all goes hand in hand.
Oh, it all does. It all does. Because I have raised my girls, or I don't know if I've raised them, but they have watched their mom believe that people can change, and when they see good in you, it's just gonna rub off on them. So that was, I guess, in the beginning when I said, well, do you believe people can change? But not always is it going to rub off.
Yeah, I absolutely could have seen it. I'm living proof.
I know, but when you're talking about someone who's in it right this second, are we telling them to stay in it? Because guess what? We're saying that they can change. Do you see? That was, I guess, where I'm going.
Where you're going? If you're in it right now, you got to get out. Or you're going to end up dead, or you're going to have more broken bones. And
but what if I leave him and later down the road he says he's changed? Do you see the cycle? Because all my relationships again, 7 times women. It takes them about 7 times before they go. All 7 times. The guy normally. I'm not gonna ever hit you again. I'm never gonna call you those names. I'm never gonna do this. Honey, I love you. There's nobody but you. And things are good for a bit.
And then it goes back
to it. So when do you know that person actually made the change? You really don't.
You don't know. But like I said, I've seen people. I've seen people change, but it's taken counseling. It's taken therapy to work on their anger issues or whatever is causing them to. And some need medication, and I hate to say that, but it's because of their mental side of things. Am I saying everybody can change? I can't say that. I just know I've seen some, and I'm sure that the number of people that don't change is greater than the ones that do.
How about you're out in public and you see a guy slapping on a girl? How would you handle that situation?
I'm going.
You're going where?
Me and the guy's gonna have a conversation.
Okay. Legally, let me tell you the correct way to do it, everybody. Domestic violence situations can be very tricky, and a police officer can tell you this also. So, call the police when you see that. Don't try to intervene, because what's going to happen in a lot of situations. You might be talking to that dude, and y'all might be getting loud, but all of a sudden behind you don't realize it. But guess what? That girl is on top of you. She's stabbing you or she's shooting you, because guess what?
You're taking her man.
So legally, if you see it in public, call the police. But it's interesting how you would. A lot of guys say, "Oh, go over there, confront them, and whatever." But
I call the police while I'm walking over there. But I grew up seeing my mom beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't sit and watch a female. I just can't do it. So if I need to call the police as I'm walking over, I'm doing it. But at least for that moment, that girl's not going to get hit until the police get there. I'm not saying I'm going to go over and hit. I'm not.
He's gonna probably hit you for interrupting. You're like, do this ain't your business.
But most of the time, you don't see him doing it in public anyway. Now, I'm not saying
incorrect. I'm gonna tell you you're incorrect. But okay.
I'm saying most of the time, I don't see that.
You're just lucky that you haven't. I've been pulled by my hair out of my car, down the concrete and everything, and no one helped. They all stood around and looked. No one called the police. No one did anything.
And when I used to go to the bars, I saw it a lot. But now that I don't go to the bars, I haven't seen that since I've been in recovery. Now, beforehand, I saw it a lot. And I don't deal well with that. I do not deal well with the. And here's the messed up part. I don't do well with a man hitting a woman because of that's physical abuse. But in my addiction, I would mentally abuse you to no end. And to me, they're neck and neck. But that's not who I am today. Because I got the help I needed.
Talk about the kids. And we were talking about the kids a second ago. And I mentioned my kids, but kids that are seeing daddy or stepdad or whoever boyfriend hit mommy. That's really mental abuse for those kids too.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that is also not comparing it to drugs and the awareness of drugs, but I believe it needs to be an awareness for kids. There needs to be talked more about it in schools because those kids see a lot at home.
It's all swept under the rug because what happens behind the door of your home should stay there.
Correct.
And that's where all the secrets happen. And then the kids are ingrained in their head. Well, you can't tell anybody. Well, you're not going to go against what your mom and dad says or your siblings or whatever the case may be. Because let's say a kid does say something. The laws to protect. If there's somebody clearly beating a kid up physically, just beating them to death. It takes so many investigations. I've seen that. It takes so long for something to happen. And in the meantime, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And then these kids get thrown around in foster care until it just gets to be a mess. Because there's a lot of foster families, there's a lot of foster homes out there that abuse kids.
There shouldn't even be foster parents. Absolutely.
I've seen that. I see people.
Correct.
They do it just for the money, and they beat the kids. So there more laws need to be there to protect the kids because it's absolutely mental abuse and it sticks with them.
Yeah.
And some can go. I'm just gonna commit. Like me, I saw my dad beat the hell out of physically beat the hell out of my mom and sister. Never laid a hand on a woman. I did the mental side, but that was the addiction. You can see it go either way. A kid could not do it, or a kid could think, okay, that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to growing up with. That must be okay. So let's do it. And then they do it. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's just that. And there's more domestic violence going on now with COVID than ever before because people are already on edge.
So let's get the definition of domestic violence. Some people might not know what the definition of domestic violence is. So, just to say that domestic violence is a live-in situation. It's a partner, I don't know the exact definition, but it's more of a live-in partner. So that's why they call it domestic. Y'all live together, live under the same roof, and so there's different things. When we talk about domestic violence, if it's just a boyfriend that comes over, or someone that comes over and hits you, that's just considered an assault, not domestic violence. So domestic violence can be a boyfriend, a husband, or whatever, but it's a live-in partner under the same roof. If it's just a boyfriend or somebody coming over and they're doing this abuse to you, it's considered an assault.
Because they're hitting you and then they're leaving.
Correct. So I just wanted to clarify that so people understand. I know we're sort of kind of talking about domestic violence, but we said abuse too. Did you hear about the man that hit the 60? I don't remember his age right this second. Just the other day off the highway here in the Chesterfield. I think it was in Chesterfield, the highway of Chesterfield. Road rage. A 60-something-year-old man and a 30-something-year-old man had road rage. They pulled over, got out of their vehicle, and the 30-something-year-old hit the 60-something-year-old in the face and knocked him on the ground. Picked him up, hit him again, picked him up and stuck him in his truck and drove off.
All because of road rage.
All because of road rage. And when the police got there, took the 60-year-old man to the hospital. He ended up dying.
Did they find the guy who did it?
I have not looked, but I do know that they were looking for him. They know who it is. They did go to that house. When they were leaving that house, the wife pulled up in that truck. And she said she didn't know anything about that, and she didn't know where he was. So they were in search for him. Correct. So of course his background is that he DWIs, drug possession, assault. He just went to court this past June 2020, and because of COVID, they didn't.
They're not having court.
They sentenced him, but he wasn't behind bars because of COVID. But he also got 2 years probation. So as soon as they catch him, he will be behind bars. But just to think, where did that come from? I mean, I'm kind of bad on road rage myself, but not enough to get out of my vehicle and hit somebody.
Unfortunately, that's the world we live in people's mindset. It's this. The devil is taking over, and God, we got to give it more to God, because there's a lot of hateful going on. And there was a girl that was walking home over by the QT last Sunday. 18 years old. A minute from her house. And somebody attacked her with a hammer from behind. And they had to take part of her skull out. She's alert, but was it somebody that she knew and they were just getting back at her for something, or was it just something random? It's I don't know. It's a scary time right now, and people really need to start being more alert. People need to stop and look. Okay, if you're struggling with domestic violence, if you're struggling with any kind of mental health issues, you've got to reach out. You have to get better.
And sometimes it's hard to reach out. So what about those people that know that you are struggling? They know that you're getting abused. They know.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to get involved. Because you always. Okay, I'm going to use you and your ex as a. Let's say I stepped in and was checking on you and trying to pull you away. Okay. At the end, you're going to be mad at me anyway, because stepping into your business. I mean, I've just seen it happen time and time again. But the sad reality is on top of that, a lot of people don't want to get caught up in somebody else's drama or BS, which it's not drama, it's BS. It's about a human life that's getting abused, but they don't want to get in the middle. And a lot of times people don't know how to handle that situation. Well, why don't you just leave them? Like we talked about early on when you reached out to me about your daughter, and we started talking about the physical abuse, and I said, why don't you just leave? Why doesn't somebody just leave? I could never understand why a woman keep. And then you said, why couldn't you just quit drugs? Bam, drop the mic. You were right. And then I started learning more and started watching, and you were teaching me, and other people were kind of teaching me. I understand it's not so easy just to leave because it's all me. I can do better. I can treat them better. I can maybe cook better dinners or give them sex more or whatever the case may be, and things are going to change. And at the end of the day, it's not you, it's him. And the question is, when is enough is enough?
Yeah, because I don't know if you heard the story. I don't know where she was from, but she went to go pick up her kids from her ex-husband. For years, her ex-husband kept telling everybody, including her, he just wanted to kill her. And when she went to go pick up the kids, for some reason that day she had contacted a few people to say, hey, this is the rental car I'm in, this is what it looks like, here's the license plate. I just don't feel good about this, picking up the kids. And he shot her in her car outside his place and killed her. And she sat there for a while before someone actually realized, hey, someone needs to call the police. I mean, she sat there for hours. And before the police ever found out about it.
And somebody would have went along.
And he was right back in his house. It's not like he took off with the kids. He literally went right back inside his house with his kids.
I didn't hear about that. Was that a couple years ago in Illinois?
No, this just recently happened. And so I want to say it's up north somewhere, but literally. So what do you do? I mean, it's like these crazy people. I think it's just crazy that he walked right back in his house. To live
mental issues.
I know, but now you say it. Mental issues. How often is everybody going to get away with mental issues? Oh, he had mental issues, so guess what? We're going to slap it on his hand because he had mental issues.
You shouldn't get a slap on the hand.
Well, I know, but that's how our society is. That's how our court is. That's how...
Because they don't want to deal with it. And things need to change with that. Absolutely. The courts do not want to deal with somebody that has mental issues. And I see that on a regular basis. They just... And institutions don't want to deal with people that have mental illness, so they'll keep them for a couple days, dope them up, and send them on their way before the medicine even gets to kick in and see if that's the right one. I'm not saying all are like that.
Correct.
I'm saying that there's but a majority of them are. And there's so many changes need to be made to the health care for that mental illness, because a lot of the violence and the abuse that is happening, I think a majority of it goes back to some type of mental illness. Nobody in their right mind is going to beat the heck out of somebody just because. Nobody in their right mind. There's something going on in that brain that is going to trigger that anger to where they're going.
Well, I mean, I think everybody has a reason. So it's not out of for no reason. I think it's always a reason. It might not be a reason that we think is the right reason. There's always a reason.
But I'm
in
saying
their head.
there's something mentally going on in their head that's going to trigger them to slap a woman. And that's to me that's not a man. When a man lays that's not a man. Of course. I wasn't a man either when I was in my addiction and I was doing the mental abuse.
What about women who abuse men? I mean, you don't hear much of it, but there are women that abuse men, and not just that. There are same-sex relationships. The abuse are happening in the same-sex relationships. So I mean, the women abusing their men. I mean, I can remember way back. I mean, this was years ago. How it used to be said that, well, if a guy can't stand up to the woman, then that's on him. That's not really abuse.
But if the man is, if a woman came at me and was going to hit me, she wouldn't be able to touch me anyway because she wouldn't get close enough to do that unless she hit me from behind. But
don't say never, sir.
They would have to catch me off guard. I'm
honestly, that's where it's going to happen.
But I would never hit her back. She would never get a chance to do it again. But I would never hit her back. But I know a guy that was in a relationship like that, and I felt bad for him because he was constantly calling the police because his wife was beating him up. And when the police would get there, they would not laugh at him, but laugh at him. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
You're gonna let you're calling us because she's hitting you.
Right.
Who's the alpha in this relationship? That's the attitude that's kind of the attitude he got with that. And it took him a little bit to do some. He had to work on himself, and he had to figure out why he was even putting up with being treated so badly. And now he wouldn't get into a relationship like that again.
It's interesting you say that, like calling the police. Was this in Missouri?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Missouri, I think they have this screwed up. I don't even know if it's really a law, but every precinct or whatever, the first person that calls 911 in a domestic violence, they feel like they have to arrest the other person. So in my domestic violence situation, my first one that I was in, he was good at that because I would never call 911 because hello, I am a former police officer. If I cannot stand up for myself, handle it myself, I sure wasn't going to call the police. So I never called the police. But the first guy, he called the police every single time, and I would be like bloodied up. And do you know if they would arrest me? Because he had a little nick on his chin or a little scratch on his leg.
And he was the first one.
Because he was the first one that called, I had to be arrested. And they held me for 24 hours. And it'd always be almost the same officers. Like they knew me so well. And they were like, why are you putting up with this? And I can remember, and now this is way back in the 1990s, but I can remember telling them I don't have anywhere else to go. And I remember one officer said, I have an extra room. You could stay in that extra room. And I was like, oh, he'll find me. I can't do that. He'll find me. Now that was my first domestic situation. So, but I can remember always going to jail. always going to jail. We actually moved. And he was military, so he always had the threat to don't you ever get me kicked out of military for this.
Right.
So I mean, they always had that threat above me too. But he got transferred to Texas, and we moved to Texas. And I told him, I said, this is my state. So let me explain to you. In my state, you can't call 911 for domestic violence. Because even though you say you're not going to press charges afterwards, the state will press charges. We did very good probably for 6 months. And man, one day, he went out. And that's how it started. He went out, and I did not feel like going. So he went out, and he stayed out all night. And he came home that morning, and he was still drinking. But then he was yelling at me because these shoes that were by the door that were not mine, and they weren't his, but they were some guy's shoes. And literally, he swore I had a guy over. And it started from there. That was the day. That was my rock bottom day.
When you finally just
he beat the crap out of me, and I saw my life in front of me. I just knew I was gonna die. He threw a big old wall entertainment center right on top of me. He threw a TV on me. He threw this gigantic aquarium that splashed all over me. I was wet. I was blooded up. He took a screwdriver to my face. He threw my cell phone out the door before any of the physical ever began. The police knocked the door down right at the time that he busted me in the face again. And literally, when they were handcuffing him, this is what he said. Look at my legs. She scratched me. I remember it so clearly, and then they pulled me out of there, I literally, they held him for 24 hours. I got out of there. But before that happened, he did call police on me because he had a beer in his hand, and I went to pull the beer out of his hand, and I let go, and it popped him. He must have had this very tiny nick that you could barely see, but it was enough for them to arrest me. And so the state was pressing charges against me. But when he beat the crap out of me and I thought I was going to die, they dropped those charges. But the thing about Missouri and Texas, which I wish Missouri would come up with this so badly, is see in Texas, they have a program for domestic violence for people, and they will relocate you. They will help you get a new place. They have funding for that. And literally, since that happened in Texas, I mean, they literally gave me, I think it was $3,600 to move back to Missouri. Paid my U-Haul truck, paid my first rent, and my deposit on my utilities, the gas to get back to Missouri, everything to get back here. And I wish Missouri would come up with some of that, because we got so many women that again feel like they're stuck
because they have no money,
and there's not really any resources. Counseling is great, but what's counseling going to do is to get me into a place.
Right.
So I have to give kudos to my state, Texas. They did take very good care of me and got me back here.
Well, I may have to look into doing. We may have to look into that.
So all right, we got a couple minutes. Anything else you want to say?
No. If you're in a situation of some abuse going on, or in a domestic violence, what would the advice be that you give them?
You need to talk to someone, number one. Because it's easy to say get out. And I'm sure anybody in those situations have heard that enough times that just goes through one ear and out the other. And they need a safe person to talk to. And absolutely could always call me. And my number is 636-582-0334. They could call Alive. Alive is also a great, because they actually will give you counseling. They will help you. Even if your children, they can put you in a safe place. And they will help you get a job if you don't have a job at the time. They have safe houses, that's what they call them. And nobody knows where the safe houses are, so you're safe, and you can stay there until you get on your feet. They give you all resources for you and your children. So that to me would be really, if someone's in that kind of situation, is to contact Alive.
Phone number is on the screen, and the website is alivestl.org.
That's what's out. Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
And I know out in St. Charles and Wentzville, there are houses to hide women that are in.
Right, but they have to go through a program. There's a program. So police departments will know all those numbers for anybody for domestic violence. Again, Alive will also know. Alive does a lot of them too. But literally, and if you don't want to go that route, find someone.
I know, and I think the St. Patrick's Center down there, they deal with a lot of homeless and addicts, but they have resources that are just off the chart for everything. So they could probably help too. So. All right, pretty good information.
That's right. All right, everybody. This is Voice of Hope. We will be here on Thursdays at 4:30. We thank you for listening in.
Yes. You guys have an awesome night. Have a safe and happy holiday weekend. With it being Labor Day, there's going to be a lot of crazies out.
I'm working.
I am too. But everybody be safe. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Lisa Mash, and this is
Scott Hartman.
And we are hosted Voice of Hope every Thursday at 4:30 Central Standard Time here at Ferguson, USA Hot Talk Radio. We are addicts, and we've also dealt with domestic violence, mental health, assaults, rapes, and many other things.
Our goal is to give hope to others. If it's domestic violence, mental health, rape, molestation, sex trafficking, trauma situations, addictions, or if you're a family member or a loved one of somebody that's going through any of this, we are here to help.
And you're going to hear real voices, real stories, real hope, and encouragement. Hi, I'm Lisa Mash, and this is
Scott Hartman.
And we are hosting Voice of Hope every Thursday at 4:30 Central Standard Time here at Ferguson, USA Hot Talk Radio. We are addicts, and we've also dealt with domestic violence, mental health, assaults, rapes, and many other things.
Our goal is to give hope to others. If it's domestic violence, mental health, rape, molestation, sex trafficking, trauma situations, addictions, or if you're a family member or a loved one of somebody that's going through any of this, we are here to help.
And you're going to hear real voices, real stories, real hope, and encouragement.